The human brain is a remarkably complex organ, constantly working to process and store vast amounts of information. But have you ever wondered what happens to the memories and information we don't use? The answer lies in a natural and essential process. During sleep, our brains regularly weaken and even remove neural connections that are no longer active or necessary. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature, a highly efficient system for maintaining cognitive function. To understand how this happens, we first need to look at how memories are formed. Every experience, thought, or piece of learned information creates a unique pattern of electrical and chemical signals that travel between brain cells called neurons. These neurons communicate at junctions known as synapses. When you learn something new, like a phone number or a historical fact, specific synaptic connections are established. Think of it like forging a new path in a dense forest. The first time you walk it, the path is faint and difficult to navigate. But with repetition, the path becomes clearer, wider, and easier to travel. Similarly, when you repeatedly recall a memory or practice a skill, the corresponding synaptic connections strengthen. This process is called long-term potentiation. The more you use a neural pathway, the more efficient it becomes, allowing for faster and more reliable signal transmission. This is why studying or practicing consistently is so effective. You are physically reinforcing the neural architecture of that memory. Conversely, what happens to the paths you stop using? Over time, they become overgrown and eventually disappear back into the forest. A similar process, known as long-term depression, occurs in the brain. Synaptic connections that are not regularly activated begin to weaken. The communication between the neurons at these synapses becomes less effective, and the memory associated with that pathway becomes harder to access. It's the brain's way of saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. This weakening and pruning of connections is not random. It is a highly organized process that primarily takes place while we sleep. Sleep is far from a passive state for the brain. It is a critical period for memory consolidation, where important memories from the day are strengthened and transferred to long-term storage. But just as importantly, sleep is also when the brain performs its cleanup duties. Scientific studies using advanced imaging techniques have shown that during certain stages of sleep, particularly deep, slow-wave sleep, the brain systematically evaluates its connections. It identifies synapses that have been inactive and initiates a process to prune them away. Imagine a gardener carefully tending to a rose bush. To encourage healthy growth and beautiful blooms, the gardener must prune away the dead or weak branches. This allows the plant to direct its resources to the strongest and most promising stems. Our brain does something very similar. By eliminating unused connections, it frees up valuable resources, including energy and physical space. This process, often called synaptic pruning, is essential for maintaining the brain's efficiency and plasticity, its ability to learn and adapt. Without it, our brains could become overwhelmed with a clutter of outdated and irrelevant information, making it difficult to learn new things or think clearly. Let's use a simple comparison. Consider the hard drive on a computer. Over time, it can fill up with temporary files, old downloads, and unused programs, which can slow down the system's performance. To keep the computer running smoothly, you periodically run a disk cleanup or optimization tool to remove this unnecessary data. Synaptic pruning is the brain's equivalent of this data optimization process. It's a biological mechanism that ensures our neural network remains streamlined and efficient, ready to form new, more relevant connections. This pruning process is particularly active during key developmental periods, such as adolescence, when the brain undergoes significant remodeling. But it continues throughout our lives, helping us adapt to new experiences and environments. When you learn a new language, for example, your brain strengthens the connections related to that language's vocabulary and grammar. At the same time, it might weaken connections related to information that has become less relevant to your daily life. It's important to understand that this is not about forgetting everything. The brain is selective. The process of memory consolidation that happens during sleep also helps to prioritize which memories to keep. Memories that are emotionally significant or have been frequently revisited during the day are more likely to be tagged for strengthening. Meanwhile, The trivial details, like what you ate for breakfast 2 weeks ago, are more likely to be marked for pruning. This balance between strengthening and weakening connections is fundamental to learning and memory. Memory isn't just about storage, it's also about retrieval. A brain cluttered with every single piece of information it has ever encountered would be incredibly inefficient. Finding a specific memory would be like trying to find a single book in a library with no cataloging system and no space left on the shelves. By clearing out the clutter, the brain ensures that the important and relevant information is more accessible. So, how does the brain actually carry out this pruning? It involves specialized cells in the brain, like microglia, which act as the brain's immune cells. These cells can detect weak synaptic connections and physically engulf and break them down. This cellular activity is highly regulated and increases during sleep, confirming the vital link between rest and cognitive cleanup. The entire system is a testament to the brain's incredible efficiency. It continuously refines its own wiring to optimize performance based on our experiences. The weakening and removal of unused information is not a sign of failure or memory loss in a negative sense. Instead, it is a crucial adaptive function that allows our brains to remain flexible, learn new things, and operate at their best. In summary, the brain is not a passive storage device that simply accumulates information indefinitely. It is a dynamic and self-optimizing system. Memories are encoded as connections between neurons, and these connections are strengthened through use and repetition. During sleep, the brain enters a vital phase of maintenance. It consolidates important memories while simultaneously identifying and pruning away the weak and unused neural connections. This process of synaptic pruning is akin to data optimization, preventing our neural networks from becoming cluttered and inefficient. By clearing out the old and irrelevant, the brain makes space for new learning and ensures that our most important knowledge remains accessible. This constant balancing act between memory formation and forgetting is what helps the brain remain an efficient and powerful tool for navigating our world.